what are the typical use cases for CGI MaEVA? Well, throughout all industry sectors, MaEVA can be used for facility management, for big and complex facilities, of course. A typical scenario would be the field technician who spontaneously needs the help of a remote expert to solve a local issue. Like you can see here on the picture, he's using augmented reality feature for this. What you can see on the upper right, you can use MaEVA for industrial inspection, for example, of power plants, wind power plants. You can use a drone with a camera, equipped with a camera, to inspect the wind power plant. This way, only the one who steers the drone, so the drone pilot, so to say, is the one who has to be in front of the plant and coordinate the flying of the drone. But the inspector, the engineer, the expert who wants to see what's happening on that wind power plant, who needs to check whatever can be checked, doesn't need to have close to it. It can be located anywhere around the world as long as he's using MaEVA and has an internet connection. Well, the biggest customer so far for CGI MaEVA is an aircraft manufacturer and MRO service provider. A big issue in this industry, as already mentioned, is the scarcity of aircraft technicians and engineers worldwide. Because if there is an issue with an aircraft, and not every airport, not every little airport on every island of the world has all the technicians, all the possible engineers, and all the information which is needed to handle problems with the aircraft that might land there on this airport. So to reduce the travel time and to reduce the response time to those issues, MaEVA is successfully used in this field because you can quickly access experts using MaEVA to share video feeds, to share document repositories that you push in the meeting to show the technicians who's located in front of the aircraft the manual he needs to see. An expert can see what the technician is doing. He can supervise him, and so on. And this is very successful field where the benefit of CGI MaEVA takes place today. Well, on the bottom on the right, you can see that pilot training is also a use case for MaEVA. You can imagine that the flight instructors are using the augmented reality features of MaEVA to guide flight students who wear smart glasses to annotate objects in their view. So on this picture, you can see that the flight instructor annotates an instrument in front of the flight students, how to check it, what is important to check next, and so on. So, with this slide, I want to stress the benefits MaEVA achieved for customers where a short response time is critical, like in the aircraft manufacturing and repair industry. Together with our customer, we estimate around, and this is a conservative estimation, that 20% less aircraft and ground time is achieved by the use of MaEVA. And you can imagine aircraft on ground time is very expensive. It costs up to $1 million a day to have an aircraft grounded, which is supposed to be on a flight plan instead. So this way, MaEVA provides a very strong leverage to save costs. All right, now I want to show you some screenshots and facts about MaEVA, especially for those of you who will not join the breakout session afterwards, so you get maybe a little feeling what MaEVA looks like. MaEVA comes in two different versions. There's a rich client and a web-based application. This way, MaEVA can be used with all browser-enabled devices. However, to experience the full functionality, you would have to use the rich client version. Of course, the web-based version cannot provide all the features, at least not now. So to use a rich client, you require a Windows machine or Android machine. There are already APKs for use on Android devices available, but as far as I know, and there is an app for iOS planned yet, but it's not released. But in the future, this will definitely come. So let's start with the start screen of MaEVA. So when you start MaEVA, you have several options. You can start a new meeting, you can continue an old meeting, or you can join a meeting. For the latter, you would need a valid room number to join a meeting of someone else. Here you can see some screenshots what the joint desk I talk about looks like. So on the right, you can see that every participant can provide via their webcam a video feed of themselves, which is automatically generated. Of course, you can turn the camera off. And this way, you have a 360-degree view of all participants in the room. So what you see in the middle, this is what the joint desk looks like. You have this field when you can put items, and this field is endlessly big. You can scroll to the right, to the left, and there's no space limit. And as you can see here, there's some widgets shown. There you have some screenshots, some pictures. There's a manual. There's a map, which you can see. And there is a big white table where you can write things on, like a whiteboard. And I will show you this later how this works. And on the next slide, you can see there on the left, you have a menu where you can manage your contacts. You can invite your contacts, or you can chat with everyone in the meeting, or you can, if there's some trouble with the speaking, I've never experienced it yet, but you can also use the chat room, or you can do private chat room with other participants, which privately. So what is interesting is what happens in the middle. You can see there's a window where you do on the bottom right where you can do application sharing. This is easily done for any application. You can open a window on MaEVA and import the application, and you can even give remote control to other participants and so on. And you can see video feeds also here from different video assets. I will show you this later, how this works. So to talk about the augmented reality feature. So first of all, you have a QR code listener implemented to MaEVA. So on whatever video feed you are hosting, you can have QR codes. So if you see in your screen, if there's a QR code, maybe somewhere in the manufacturing hall, or you have something where you have a QR code, and you can easily click then on detect QR code, and the link is opened, or this file is important to your MaEVA meeting. This is one of the AR features MaEVA has. And then on the next slide, I show you where the magic happens. Here you can see how the augmented reality annotation is being done. Here on this power device, you can see that given that this is a video feed, of course, you're not only seeing a screenshot now, but this is a video feed, you can annotate objects like this cable is being marked here with the square, and you can annotate this, and you might have like an arrow there, a thumb marker. On this case, you have a green text box where you can put a name on it, and you can put a text on it. And the interesting thing is here that if the camera is moving to another focus, and it comes back to this, you will see hovering this widget, this marker, on the same spot. Even move your head to the left or to the right, so the MaEVA detects where the object you've marked before is located. And there we have a little example later in the breakout session how this can be done, and then you can really see how the AR works. Well, on this, one second. On this slide, you see a summary of some MaEVA features. Most of it I've already mentioned. Still interesting, at least I think, it's the upcoming photographic conferencing feature. This way you can see your meeting participants as a holographic projection and not through the computer screen. I don't know if this is really necessary. I don't know if this is so much helpful, but I like this idea, like having a virtual meeting and not seeing on the screen, but having a holographic projection of the participants in the meeting. This is a little playful, but I'm really excited when this is developed right now. This is tested and developed with a French bank who is doing this work with our French colleagues to implement this holographic conferencing feature for MaEVA. I'm pretty excited about this. Okay, so to sum it up, CGI MaEVA is the professional collaboration tool of the next generation. And if you're interested to find out more, you can always contact me or check out the MaEVA landing page you see on this slide.